All righty, guys. So welcome to the Cash Flow Empire every Tuesday night, where we like to come in and bring, a little bit of everybody. Today we have a really special guest, really important to me, just because she's a figure that's from Dallas, Texas, and she's left some type of impact in my life, and obviously now we're you can call it business partners, right, Tommy? Tommy and Jade, we're business partners. So something that I never saw coming, but I'm extremely blessed. And guys, you're really gonna like her story. Obviously, every Tuesday night we like to come here and get together, talk about real estate, talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and just be extremely transparent on people's experience and what is it that we see on the field, since we do have a lot of first-time comers here. So that being said, Jade, welcome to the Cash Flow Empire.
Let's go. Okay, first of all, I am so excited about being on here. I see my boy Tommy is in it. Tommy, you're muted right now, so you may want to unmute yourself. But Sergio and Jonathan are like the GOATs. So I'm honored that y'all had me come in here. I remember the first time meeting you guys too, and I'm like, I got to team up with these guys because they're out here making a lot of money. Y'all are being real humble and everything, but I definitely admire you all right back. So no, me and Tommy definitely are excited about being on here with you guys tonight. Tommy is still muted. Tommy, can you say hey? You gotta look, y'all know this is another generation. Stop acting old, Tommy. You gotta
it's that Android.
It is the Android.
It's the Android.
Lord have mercy. So okay. And look, he accidentally hung up. But yes, no, seriously, guys, I really appreciate you being on here. You're right. I think the most important thing is, I love how you guys said you give the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's the only way that people are gonna learn the real game. And it is up to us to give them the real information so that they could go be successful and not walk into anything blind, right? So yeah, thanks for having me.
No, not a problem. We're excited to have you. Everybody's super excited just to hear about your story, because let's just get into it real quick. So Jade, how did who's Jade? First of all, for those of y'all that aren't from Dallas, because Jade, we do have our community is from all over the US and even outside of the US. We got we got people from all over the world. So really quick, guys, just so Jade knows where you're coming from, type in where you're from. They're literally from all over the place, all over the country and all over the world. So for those that don't know who Jade is, do you want to just quickly explain who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about you real quick?
Okay, well, first of all, shout out to Yoshi from Florida, Carlo from Dallas, Willie from Connecticut. I see Seattle, Washington State. Oh, okay, so y'all worldwide. Okay, I'm loving it. We have Waco in the building, more Dallas, Oregon. What's up, Carmen? I see you. So, okay, this is a big deal. So let me be professional. Okay, no, I'm just joking. I see Denton. Okay, this is great. So, hey, Jay, Dallas here. What's up, Lizette? Hey, what's up, D? Tulsa, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Okay, so who is Jade? So I am born and raised in Dallas, Texas. And the reason why they keep referencing me, Sergio and Jonathan, especially Sergio being from being here in Dallas, I was on the radio here in Dallas for a really long time. I actually worked at the hip hop station here for 19 years, which is crazy for me to even think that I did that. So I did 16 years of being an on-air personality on the morning show here. So, nationally syndicated at the time when I was there, 76 stations across the nation. And I love I love media. I love hosting. I love people. I love everything that comes with that. But I remember about 5 years ago, my now mentor and business partner, Tommy Jones, who is on. Tommy, I see you're finally unmuted. Well, you were, and now you're muted. Lord Jesus.
Okay. I'm unmuted. I got it. I fixed it. I got it.
Okay. Tommy Jones came into the station for an interview on the morning show, and he was actually putting together it was like a seminar. It's like a speaking seminar. He does speaking engagements and so on and so forth. And so that is when, at that time, I did not know that I was meeting my real estate mentor. And this is why it's so important, you guys. Everything in life, every business in life, even if you work a 9 to 5, relationships are so important. At the end of the day, you can be the most knowledgeable person in the room. You could be the smartest, you could be the prettiest, you could be the guy with the biggest muscles, but people never forget how you made them feel. That is like number one to me. So even when I'm having a bad day, I try my best, and I'm not 100%, but I literally can remember times in my life where I regretted allowing the outside world to affect the way I treated people, because people never forget that either. And if they think you're a jerk, you'll forever be a jerk. Sometimes you never get a number two, a second chance. So Tommy comes in and he does an interview, and Tommy, actually at that time, you wanted me to host an event for you in Houston, right?
Yeah, no. You were going to Houston. I wanted you to host an event here, and you were doing your philanthropic stuff with your kids. And I want you to talk about your kids tonight as well. But you had an event at NASA where you just got back from, and you couldn't do it. And you tried, and we tried to fly you. We tried to get you a private car, and you tried everything to be at my event, but you just couldn't do it. You couldn't. It couldn't work.
I have a nonprofit. I'll tell you guys about that later, but he did want me to host an event here in Dallas, and I was willing to leave there, come back, and then go back to be with my kids, but we couldn't make it happen. So because I guess my willingness at that time, we kind of just clicked. And Tommy and I became friends, not friends that you talk to on the phone every single day, but for some reason we started building this type of friendship. And at that time, it was kind of like a life mentor. Tommy to me was like, I would be able to call him and, just talk to him about life. And he would always encourage me in such a kind, honest, nothing like, it was just such a genuine friendship, the way that things kind of built over time. But I'm going to keep it real. I'm not a pocket watcher. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but it's when you're watching other people make money and like judging them. But I was like, hold on. I know this guy is in like the real estate industry. He's been in it for over 20 years, but he's not a realtor. This is not regular real estate money that I'm watching him make. Tommy was going on too many trips. Tommy was like, driving nice cars. And I'm like, are you dealing drugs on the side, Tommy? Like, what's really going on? Right? Well, so I asked, I'm like, Tommy, like, what is it that you're doing? And he explained to me that he was an investor on the side of, what is it, being a loan officer, correct? Okay,
yes. Yeah.
So you got to stay unmuted, Tommy.
Okay,
so,
I'm unmuted. Yes.
So, 20 years as a loan officer. I mean, I know they make decent money, but it was just a little different. So I became curious, and I started asking questions. And one thing I will say about Tommy is every question that I asked, he did not just give me surface level answers. He would always go into detail. So I knew that I was in radio. I was making a really great salary at the time, you guys, but I knew that that wasn't sustainable. At the end of the day, there's always, when you're working for somebody else, there is always a finish line at some point. And even though the money was good, at the end of the day, I wanted to start building generational wealth for my family. So I began asking these questions. Tommy always was willing to teach me the answers. And I'm telling you this because as you're looking for a mentor, and everybody is always saying, how do you find a mentor? First of all, building a relationship and becoming an asset to someone, right? It was an even exchange type of relationship. Again, like he said, I didn't know anything about real estate, but my skill set was hosting events. I was willing to host and show up to what he had going on, and he was willing to give me information. So that's how the trust began to build over time. So when he finally starts, go ahead, Tommy.
No, I was just saying, I'm saying exactly what you're saying, but go ahead.
Yeah, so he would answer all of my questions, and long story short, because I am a talker, it was time for us to do our first deal. And he was like, okay, Jade, like, it's time for you you got to sink or swim, basically. It's time for you to jump in because you're going to be asking me questions for the next 3 years. And if I don't push you out of the nest, you will never, you can never fly. And I'm like, all right, cool. So he tells me about this property in Fort Worth that we decided we were going to partner on. Tommy, golly, this property in Fort Worth. The house was $45,000. Okay. And now everybody on the phone, like, how the heck do you find a $45,000 house? That's why you got to roll with the guys that know what they're doing. Okay. So it was a $45,000 house. And like now that seems like impossible. But the crazy thing at the time, you guys, again, I had not been knowing Tommy at this time, maybe 3.5, 4 years. So I trusted him. When it was the night before it was time for me to write this $45,000 check, no lie, I was so attacked. Y'all, I started having my heart was in my stomach. I was feeling sick. And all of a sudden, I'm like, Tommy's a scammer. Like I was so doubtful. Like I was like, this man been grooming me for these last 3 years. He about to take all my money. Now, the crazy part about it, y'all, I wasn't writing the check to Tommy. I was writing it to the title company. But in my mind, I'm like, he's probably in cahoots with the title company and they're going to take every dime that I have, which is this $45,000 check. I start Googling Tommy. I start looking up Tommy Jones scammer, Tommy Jones con artist. I start to look up his social media handles and being like, wait, why does he only have like 2 posts on this particular, like it was super confusing to me. And I knew that it was about to be a wrap. He was going to take all of my savings. But y'all, I knew I had to, at the same time of me being that scared, when I woke up the next day, I was like, I'm still going to do it for some reason. I didn't understand why, probably because I didn't find anything when I Googled him, right? And I show up at the title company and I wrote the check. It was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life because I don't know about anybody on here, but I need my money. You know, I help take care of family members. I have bills to pay, you know? And I never want to risk it all. I'm not a risk taker. That's just not who I've been in my life. I've always been very calculated. When you're in entertainment, you have to overthink everything that you say, everything that you do, because you're constantly in the spotlight. So I've never had the ability to just be one of those free spirits. It's just not in my nature naturally. But being around someone that can nudge you out of your comfort zone is so important in this game. And writing that check for me, and not just writing that check, but having a good mentor that was going to walk me literally step by step through the entire process, was literally the best decision that I could have ever made in my life. So I was still on the radio doing the morning show. And while I was a radio personality, I also became a real estate investor. Let me tell you guys this one thing, and then I'll let Tommy jump in and Sergio and Jonathan start asking more questions. Here's the thing, you guys. Not only did he push me out of the nest, but one thing that I respected so much about Tommy is before I wrote the first check, through those months of me asking questions, I was asking questions not to get information, if I'm being honest. I was asking questions to catch him in a lie. Because where I come from, everybody wants something, right? Or something is a setup. I'm just not a trusting person. And so I felt as if I was trying to find the caveat. Nobody in life is going to want to teach the game. I just don't come from that type of industry. Everybody wants to hoard the information, which is why I respect Sergio and Jonathan so much, of bringing in people so that you can hear from different experts and wanting to learn this the right way, right? Most people hold their resources to themselves. And one day he stopped me and he said, Jade, let me just say this. I want you to keep asking questions. I know what this is. He said, and ask him as long as you need to. He said, remember, sometimes God will bring people in your life to help heal the hurt that they did not cause. My lack of trust had nothing to do with anything that Tommy had done. It came from friends that I felt maybe betrayed me, broken relationships, people that maybe promised me stuff in life and it didn't come through. And I'm bringing all this up because I think it's so important as we want to grow in life. Remember, so many things, and people have dealt with trauma where so many things have happened to us in our past. It keeps us from growth. it keeps us stagnant. It keeps us stuck in fear. And no, I'm not on here to tell you that you need to write the huge check, that you need to, jump out of the nest. But what I am going to say is, if you have the right leadership, and if you're on this call today, and if you're under the tutelage of Jonathan and Sergio, I know that you are under the right leadership, and that you need to continue to stay connected to the experts, follow the formula, and watch your life and your account grow. It's a slow rolling process. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a get rich quick. But if you just trust the leadership, that's the whole thing, is like literally trusting the leadership and listening and following the formula, you can be very successful in this game. So did I even tell you who Jade was? I don't know.
that was beautiful. And then Tommy, so because the question is gonna be, why did you decide to partner with Jade as her mentor, right? Because what did you hope to gain from this partnership? What were your expectation, right? Because you were in real estate and she was in the radio, right? So did you wanna?
So two things, right? So I knew that, number one, she held a special place in my heart, because when she tried to be there for my event, it wasn't Hollywood talk. I mean, we looked at, hey, let's take a red eye to Houston. I can get a driver. The driver can pick you up at the airport. They can take you to my event. I mean, we looked at every different possible way to make this happen, and it couldn't. And I'm the type, and she just told me this last night, I'm the type of person that I'm usually the one that goes the hardest for other people. And when you find somebody that wants to do that for you, you want to reciprocate. And so it was just a kindred spirit from day one. And I kind of put an asterisk by her name, and I was like, I want to help her in any way that I can. So when she came to me, and we started developing our relationship, and she's like, man, this whole entertainment thing, it's not me anymore. I want something different, but I'm paraphrasing, I feel trapped. I make a lot of money and I don't know where I can go. I have an amazing lifestyle. Now, she lives way below her means. Let me say that, right? She still does to this day. She lives way below her means, but she's like, I'm used to making this kind of money. I mean, this is the only job I've had out of college. I mean, I know I got a lot of different skills that I can do, but I don't know what to do. And I said, anybody that knows me, regardless of what the question is, the answer is real estate. I was like, I know what you'd be amazing at. And she was like, what? I said, come play in this dirt. Now, Jade had already had a substantial, quiet as this kept, guys, I can't take all the credit. She had a substantial real estate holdings as far as assets that she was holding and kind of managing herself. And I said, let me help you take that to another level. And again, I don't take personally when people are defensive or when they push back, because I know, Jonathan, most times that has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. It's something that they're dealing with. So one thing that I always say is consistency over time will silence the critics. And most of the critics, guys, that are silenced, ones in your head, because that's your biggest enemy, the enemy. Right? So when she was saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? I just answered the questions. And I was like, well, you know what? Why don't I just show you? Let me show you how this works. Right? And so we had the opportunity to do a deal. And out of all the deals, that deal was a deal from hell. And I was thinking to myself, man, out of all the people to jump on this deal with, it had to be her. She already had trust issues. And so what happened, guys, we bought a house, unbeknownst to us, that was in a historical district. So I'll give you an example. We had a budget for windows, Sergio. We were doing window replacement. We had a budget for like $4,000. Well, we had to go back with the original type windows because this house was in a historical district. So our window costs ballooned from $4,000 to like $18,000 because we had to use these special type of windows. And then we were using a regular type of siding, but the city came in and said, no, you have to go back with the regular siding. So we had I think we had estimated siding to be like 5,000. It wound up being almost 20,000. But if you watch any of my podcasts or you follow me, Jade, I always say if you buy it right, because all the money is always made on the acquisition. You just get paid on the liquidation. So even with all of that, we still made money on the deal. I think she made what, 70, 80 grand, even with all that crap, Jade, right? What did you make?
Yeah, it was about 80. Hey, Tommy, your I don't know what's going on with your internet. Y'all, he still has DSL. I'm sorry. Like, so I don't know what's going on, but you may want to, because we don't want to miss the information. Also, I want to kind of backtrack.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that love to break down into layman's terms. So first of all, when he says that I already had holdings, for those that, and I don't want to insult anybody on here, but I don't want to assume that everybody knows. So I had rental properties is what I had. And in my mind at that time, I just thought I had rental properties, right? I didn't understand the importance of that being part of a portfolio until kind of Tommy was like, no, that's a really, like, that is part of investing. But again, it was my first home that I had bought. And when I bought when I bought a new home, I just put that one up for rent, So again, sometimes you accidentally kind of slip into this game or whatever. And then when he's saying, you make the money when you acquire the property, meaning you make it on the front end, not when you sell it. So I want to make sure that everybody understands. You heard me earlier when I said, if you follow the formula and listen to the leadership, even when your repair costs end up costing you more than you expected, like it did with our first deal, remember, we made money when we bought it at the beginning because we bought it for the right amount, right? Which leaves you somewhat of a cushion. Now, I mean, I was super grateful to make the 70, 80 grand. I was jumping for joy. I mean, I was just glad I didn't lose, because when the city kept coming back and we kept having to repair all these different things for more money, of course, I started getting nervous. But again, that was the worst yet best lesson I could have ever. I mean, like the deal, Tommy, it was supposed to take a couple of months and it took us almost a year.
It took a year.
It was the worst. But when you get the check at the end, you're like, oh, okay. Like, even though we had to, come up off of some extra ends at the beginning, like it was worth it. And I'm going to tell you why I stuck with him after that deal, because let's be clear. A lot of people would be like, oh, no, heck no, this is not for me. Because a good mentor is not going to leave you high and dry. A good mentor is going to walk you through the process. Now, and I'm going to say this, it depends on the level of mentorship you get. You heard Sergio and Jonathan mention earlier that they spent a lot of money on masterminds. I want everybody to remember, you get what you pay for, right? And you need to be very clear when you're looking for a mentor. Mentorships are not free. They don't always cost money. A lot of them do, because a lot of them understand their worth. But there is a cost involved. Sometimes the cost is, again, what are you bringing to the table? I tell people this all the time. Even right now, with me and Tommy being business partners, he still has a level of expertise that I am trying to get to. So you know what it costs me to continue getting this information, even after I've already superseded the cost of the mentorship, right? Is my cost now is time. My cost now is inconvenience. And what I mean by that is, when Tommy is on properties that have nothing to do with me, I need to be pulling up to his properties and walking those properties with him and watching him, watch how he talks to the contractors, watch what is he looking for, asking questions. And he's always quizzing, like all of his students is this way. It's, do you feel the foundation? Do you see the cracks? Do you notice this on the roof? Look in the neighborhood. What do you see? But that is me when I am tired and I've been working all day, pulling up on him and offering that to him. You know what I mean? Or offering my time to go there. So, and there's another reason. So Tommy, we said we're going to keep it 100% on here. So after you and I started working together, there's another reason why we continue to work together, because again, when you find a good, now it's going from being a mentor to a partner. That should you can't be great at the same things. Everybody has to be bringing something different to the table. So what made me a great partner for you, Tommy?
So what made me a great partner? So here's the deal, right? Is that she excels at what I suck at, right? So what I love about Jade is that, and Sergio and Jonathan, we talked about this at lunch today. You have to be in a relationship with people that you're able to, I'll use it, it's a NASCAR term, where you can slingshot, right? So there are times that we'll walk into a meeting and you'll think Jade is the head. There's times I'll walk in meetings, I'll be the head. So we fall back depending on what we're doing, and we complement each other, right? I mean, Jade is, she is an amazing, I think weren't you a point guard in high school or a shooting guard?
I was a point
Yeah.
guard.
So when I tell you that Jade sets you up, like the whole thing, guys, we got coming up on November 3rd with Anthony O'Neill, that does not happen without Jade. Let me be very crystal clear, right? So Jade creates opportunities for my brilliance to be put on display and my voice to be amplified, right? She does that better than anybody that I know. We are just now spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month on building my digital footprint. But the foundation of that comes from her. Right. So being able to do that. So it's a great 1-2 punch. So Jay, we're gonna keep it real. You know, I mean, we have producers, is it New York or LA, that are pitching shows for us because of you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that or not, but I said it.
God is good. There are some things possibly in the works. So everybody cross your fingers for us, please. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. Oh, boy, Tommy, can't hold water. All right. But yes, because so here's the thing. Like, I had the influence from being on the radio, so I had a good social media following. But guess what? My social media following is not going to make me get me investment deals. It's not going to make sure that I win in investment deals. So I have the influence. Tommy has the information. You put those two opposite skill sets together, you are creating an impact. And that's what I, whenever you all are looking for business partners, it could be other people that are taking classes with you. It could be people that come on here on Zoom. Find out what that other person's skill set is. If Tommy and I were both, not to say you can't partner with two industry experts, but if we were both industry experts, but we sucked in the digital world, then limiting our growth. So that's what I would say to you guys when you're growing and looking for people to partner with. Who is good at something that you're not good at? Who is going to complement you, you know? And then you also have to be mature enough. It takes a level of maturity to play the back sometimes. It's funny that he said that sometimes when we step into certain arenas, you think that I'm running things. That takes maturity from Tommy to not have to be the big dog all the time and pound his chest and let everybody know I created wealth through real estate. Because guess what? When the deposit comes in, it really does. You know, when people are bringing us opportunities to acquire assets, it doesn't matter who's running the show because the checks clear the same. And so sometimes we have ego out of transactions and say, you know, what is it? Competition is only going to get you so far. We believe in collaboration, competition, right? And that's why Sergio and Jonathan work. Wouldn't you say, Tommy?
Yes. So let me speak to that. So in the beginning, I called Sergio my little nephew, but my boy Sergio said, he said, man, over the last 12 months, we've spent over $100,000 on just getting better, on being in the right rooms. And let me tell you, and so Jade knows my story. So last year I wanted to get into multifamily, and I wrote $100,000 check to get in the room, to get access. And that's the biggest check that I've ever written for personal development or for mentorship. But I was betting on me. Just like Sergio and Jonathan, I knew that once I got in the room, I could work the room. And so when I was meeting with Jonathan and Sergio today, because I'm helping them, part of my coaching is I'm helping them craft their story to be more impactful. So when we were talking, so Sergio was like, man, I didn't meet Jonathan on a stage. Jonathan wasn't a keynote. I wasn't a keynote. We were at the event. We were networking. So I looked at him and said, so what was the cost of admission for that event? He said, man, it was $1,000. I said, okay, so here's the story, right? So you paid $1,000 or you made $1,000 investment into yourself. And with just the stuff that we're setting up together, right? Not even the other stuff that they're doing without me, which I'm a little salty that I'm not included, but just the stuff that we're doing together. It will create millions of dollars. Sergio doesn't have any children. Sergio is now making moves that will create legacy for his children's children's children. And I am so happy. I mean, we were at a financial institution today signing legal documents for what's about to happen, right? And so guys, I'm telling you, be mindful when you get the opportunity to get in a room, work the room. Bring your superpower, whatever it is, regardless of however small you think it is, because it's important. Because what tends to happen is the stuff that you're organically great at, you discount it.
Yep.
But other people think it's amazing. Listen, Jade knows this. I got a call and I got invited to a special, it was 30 people, 30 thought leaders from around the country. We were in New York. And so when I looked at the requirements, you had to have $100 million AUM, assets under management, and you had to have a $5 million net worth. So I'm telling Jade, I think they sent the damn email to the wrong person. And she was like, just check it out. Just check it out. So guys, I check it out and they're like, no, we meant to send it to you. But here's what we want to know from you, Tommy Jones. We want to know how the hell you're flipping these houses and constantly getting these double-digit returns, because we're making big investments. We're making 15, 20, $30 million investments, Shirley, but our money is tied up for 5, 7, 10 years. We are interested in creating cash flow. We're interested in how you're doing that. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm interested in how you getting $50 million to buy them damn apartments. So we were both interested in a skill set that the other person had. So when Jonathan and Sergio invites you guys to, whether it's a virtual room or a physical room, get in the room, because your network, your next level of breakthrough is connected to that room.
Yeah. Can I ask the guy the question honestly? Because this is for Sergio and Jonathan. Look, see, y'all know I'm an interviewer by nature, right? So I'm not. So you guys spent over $100,000 last year on making yourself better, on taking courses in masterminds. And Tom, you mentioned writing $100,000 check. My question is for even myself. I know the checks that I've written, I haven't written $100,000 checks yet, right? What about for the people that are saying, like, I don't have $100,000. How do you start? Because I don't want people to miss the fact that last year you guys wrote $100,000 over time, but where you met, you wrote $1,000 check, right? And so that takes a little bit of discipline on the front side. It may not happen immediately, but everybody says, yeah, but I don't have $1,000 to just give to these people. I don't have this, I don't have that. And I think that we oftentimes talk ourselves out of it from the very beginning. So how did you guys even get the $1,000 for the first thing? Or how do you work your way up? Like, what does that process realistically look like to be able to invest in yourself?
You know, I was actually sitting in the same room right here. And I remember I had just got out of the gym. I was working on myself. I was trying to get fit. I had just got out of a relationship. So I try to, I try to kind of just focus on me. I was hitting the gym, right? Saw some video. I was like, you know what? I need to level up. I need to do something different. You know, I have a construction company, but this entrepreneur shit, you know, I just can't, I can't work on the business my whole life. You know, I gotta do something different, and I gotta find multiple sources of income. So I decided to buy a Grant Cardone ticket, and at that time I didn't even know how to buy a plane ticket. I didn't even know how to buy a hotel. I let alone I've never really left Texas because my dad, you know, hardworking Mexican. All we do is work. We don't travel. I didn't travel growing up as a kid. We didn't go to Disney World. We didn't even go to the Texas State Fair. You know, the only memory I got was going to the circus at the old Maverick Stadium, and I can barely remember that red and black building. But anyways, so I bought $1,000 ticket, and I thought I was getting scammed. You know, I was scared. I was shaking. I put it on a credit card, and I was like, shit, what am I doing? But I said, you know what? Like Tommy said earlier, I'm willing to gamble on myself and buy $1,000 ticket. And I was so like, how should I say it in English? I was so like, I didn't trust it that bad that I had to call the next day and say, listen, I think I'm getting scammed. Is this legit? They're like, no, it's legit. Your name's on the list. So I was ready to go. And I called my homegirl. I was like, hey, listen, can you, I just bought a ticket to go to Miami. Can you help me buy a ticket, a flight? I've never bought a flight. Can you help me book a hotel? And that's essentially what had happened. And then that's where I met Jonathan. And that was the first real estate event that I've ever went to in my life. And luckily, right after that, I mean, the rest is history. We had the same ethics. We had the same moral. We had the same drive. And I mean, we just kept trucking from there. And here we are 2 years later, hosting these Tuesday night calls, buying multi-million-dollar assets, partnering up with people like Tommy Jones and Jade, and just trying to take over the world. And not only trying to take over the world, but bring everybody that's in this room with us.
Yeah.
I love that. And I want Jonathan to answer too. But I'm going to tell you what's so dope about that. You're not supposed to be where you are. And that is why it's so important to share that backstory, because there are so many people that get on these calls and they're like, you ain't never even bought a plane. You've never been out of Texas. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just like the same way when I wrote that check, when we start playing with our money and our last, we start thinking it's a scam. Sometimes it is, right? But you went to somebody who was reputable. You went to a Grant Cardone. So, you know, obviously he has a reputation. It's not somebody just out here on social media. But I love that because knowing where you come from, like you said, just a small town little Mexican kid just out here trying to get it. You're not supposed to be saying right now, you're still super young, Sergio. I'm buying multi-million-dollar properties. You went to an event, and I know guys don't say this, but I'm going to say it as a girl. You went and met your business bestie. Like, God will align things, you know, because sometimes it's that faith step, just stepping out on faith, right? Like, and that's what you did. Like, okay, that is so freaking cool. That is a cool story. Okay, sorry. Okay, what about you, Jonathan?
Awesome. Yes, no. I mean, you know how I started, because the question is gonna be how can I get those first $1,000, right, to go to that event where I met Sergio, where I met my partner right now that we're hosting this call, right? So it was about saving, right? So at that time it was I was doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you know. At that time I was saving as much as possible and trying to invest, because I knew that it's gonna be taking me probably 3 or 5 years to be working really hard, and then later on I'm gonna be enjoying the life that I want. Right. So I was working really hard those first 5 years, and then I was able to save and invest the money. Right. But yes, I was betting on myself, because, you know, if I can work 18 hours a day just to follow my dream and wait. Right. So I'm sure that being in the right room, I can figure something out too, right? And I always think, okay, what is my best case? What is my worst case scenario? Okay, what about if yeah, it's a scam? What about if it's a guru that is taking my money? I just go and I work another week and I will get my money back. So at the end, I didn't have anything to lose, right? So I was betting in myself, and that is where I made my partners, and it's when my mindset started changing and thinking bigger. But yeah, that's a short answer because I want to hear you guys study, but yeah, that's pretty much how I was able to save my first $1,000 to go to an event.
And I'm gonna tell you why that's so good is because it is that small discipline. You knew I gotta work my butt off to be able to just have this one again. I gotta get in the room. Tommy said it, get in the room. Every time you get an opportunity, get in the room. Whatever room you can get in the room. Like every time you have a spare moment, you should be getting in the room with some, you know what I mean? With this call is in the room. You're in the room by doing this. And I think that you guys are so inspiring that you were willing to do whatever it took to get in the room. And that one decision changed the rest of your life. Now, don't get it twisted. Like, again, because everybody always says, the question that me and Tommy always get is about how do you know if it's a good mentor? How do you know if it's because everybody online is an expert right now. So you do have to be very careful. There are scammers, right? But you have to ask yourself when you're about to buy this class or jump into this, is it because this person is doing nothing but showing you airplanes and fancy cars and, like selling you this dream of like get rich quick? Because I'm sure Sergio and Jonathan, and I know Tommy can tell you because I don't even know when he sleeps, if I'm being honest. I don't really sleep either because I'm like, I thought entrepreneurship meant I work for myself so I can set my own hours. No, I work more hours now than I've ever done. But I think the beauty is that what comes with it, like knowing what you're building belongs to you, knowing that nobody can push the button and literally take your future from you at any given time, knowing the peace because you get to choose the people that you surround yourself with and you get to build your own team and make sure that people are speaking life into you and everybody is moving towards the same goal. So yeah, there are challenges, but if you're looking for a mentor, I think you need to look for people that are, when Sergio and them got on here today and say, we're going to give you the good, bad, and ugly, we're talking about people that literally want to give you the real game, not just game. Because this game ain't no punk. I remember Tommy's one thing Tommy says for me almost on a weekly basis, baby sis, this ain't for the week. This is not for the week. Like getting into real estate investing, being a full-time entrepreneur, at the end of the day, don't ever let anybody lie to you and say it's for the week. It's not. It is a constant challenge. But gosh, when you are challenged, the reward at the end is indescribable. It's so beautiful. Like it is this thing that, like this was, God did this for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm supposed to be here. Like God really did this for me and allowed me to get to this finish line of this project, now on to the next one. So yeah.
That was awesome. That's so Lady Jade, so do you think that anyone can be successful in real estate, no matter where they are, right? So what do you think? Can you share some experiences or what do you think about this? Because I get this question a lot.
Do I think anybody can be successful? My initial answer is yes. The reason why there's a little skepticism is because great leaders have to be great followers. I think that in order to be successful in a business that you're not an expert in, are you willing to listen? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to be coached? And are you willing to, learn the proper steps? That takes patience. That takes discipline. And that is honestly not fun. I think for me, what has been the biggest struggle for me is because with me being in radio for so long, I was an expert in my industry. Now I got into this real estate investing world, and Tommy can tell you my biggest frustration is I beat myself up so often because I'm like, will I ever understand this all the way? Like Tommy can walk in a house. We'll be literally in a house, and I'm sure Sergio and Jonathan can do the same thing, or in a property. Let me say property. We'll be on a property, and we're on and then I'll look up, and we've only been here for like 5 minutes, and Tommy's like, "Yeah, it's gonna take about 55 to," and I'm like, "Well, hold on, like I need to pull out my pen and paper and be." I can't remember how much lumber is and how much is sheetrock, and and I tell him all the time, like, I'm going to get as good as you. Like, why can't I remember these numbers? Why can't I? And he was like, I got a 20-year head start on you, and I have to keep reminding myself that I'm still a baby in this game. And I think sometimes being a student can be frustrating, and especially when you're an adult, right? Because we don't have to do this. We get to do this. So I think that if you have patience and you have the discipline, and if you have enough grace on yourself, you can absolutely do this. This is not a game where you have to have money to start. There are so many different ways that you can jump into this, and Tommy can share with you, he was broke when he first got into the game and he started wholesaling. There's a space for everybody. I have guys, probably a few weeks ago at my own home, someone came over and they were doing repairs, and we started talking about real estate. He was a HVAC guy. Starts telling me that he lives like on the outskirts of Dallas. And he was like, man, there's definitely properties out there, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I said, I'll make you a deal. If you send me some addresses and I end up buying those properties, I'll pay you, because your eyes where I can't be. So
Yeah, you're bird dog.
Yeah, what is it called?
Bird dog.
Yeah, bird dog. That is what it's called. I couldn't remember. You're a bird dog. So here's the thing. For everybody that's on here, Justin, you could be driving around and you're looking at, maybe you say, I don't have 20K to drop on a house or 60K to drop on a house, but you're driving around and you're hooking up with the Jonathans and the Sergios and the Tommies and the Jades, and you're saying, oh, this house looks distressed. Let me write this address down. Let me get some information from them, see if they can acquire this property. You just made you a few grand. Like, it depends on the deal that you work out with that person, but people need eyes everywhere. Like, man, driving around and you're looking and you're seeing these distressed properties. It doesn't always have to be for you. There are so many different ways in this game to jump in. And then
wait a minute, Jade, let me jump in right there. That strategy right there, for the 48, 50, 60 people on this call, has personally made, and I'm teaching it to Sergio and Jonathan right now. I'm helping them unpack some opportunities that they have. That one strategy has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars just talking. And here's the deal. When I started, what you would have to do, guys, you would have to write down the address. You would have to go home. You would have to look in the freaking phone book to find the name. Then you would go to the website, and well, I wouldn't even know websites back then. You would go to the phone book and you would call them. So y'all have no excuses. Y'all have technology. There was no Google when I got in the game. We had phone books. And that one strategy has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. So you don't need money, right? In real estate, you got to have a couple of things that there's not a mentor on the planet that can give you. That's tenacity and grit. The reason Jade will win in real estate is because she won't stop talking. She won't stop asking questions. She won't let me give her an answer. It's always, well, how did you come up with that? Why is that? We were on the phone last night, and I said, hey, I know you're going to be asking me questions, so let me get to our asset. Let me park so I can teach, because you're not just going to take the answer. She does not allow me to say 8. No, I need to know how you came up with 8, because I need to be able to process in my mind how you got to 8. And that's why she's going to be great. That's why Sergio is going to be great. That's why Jonathan is going to be great, because we go to these meetings, we take the information and we drag it back to our tribe.
and we feed you guys bite-sized. Listen, I didn't go to Orlando. Jonathan and Sergio did. But during our lunch appointment today, I felt like I was in Orlando because they were dropping nuggets. Jade didn't go to New York. But when I couldn't even get out of the meeting in New York and get back to my hotel room, and I'm downloading to her the information I got. So you want to find people, right, that are willing to share information. But you need to be learning while you're earning as well, so the information doesn't just go one way. Jade called me the other day and said, hey, I got this opportunity to basically shadow this guy, and I'm gonna go work the room because there's gonna be billionaires in the room. I'm like, yeah, go work the room. I can't wait to see what you learn so we can bring it back to our tribe and implement it. That's the importance. I cannot stress enough, guys. That's the importance of getting and staying in rooms like this.
That's awesome. Hey guys, for Jade and Tommy, you know, right now in the news, the media, you know, the interest rates, the bankruptcy, the banks collapsing, you know, so a lot of people are just worried. They're scared about maybe investing, right? So what do you think that right now is a good time to invest in the strategy, especially you guys are focusing on the fix and flip model? So why do you think it's a good strategy?
The reason that it's a good strategy and that the market that me and Jade serve is because it's recession resistance, right? And what I mean by that is because we provide housing at nearly the lowest common denominator, right? So regardless of who's in office, regardless of inflation, regardless of the unemployment numbers, you're still going to have a place to wash your face and brush your teeth. I forgot we got women on the call, so I'll clean it up a little bit, right? You're going to have to do that. So workforce housing, guys, it's a necessity. It's not a want. It's a necessity. So for example, like I was on a call today with some investors, and they were saying, well, why does your model continue to work regardless of what the economy is doing? I'll give you an example, because the median price house in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is probably about $375 to $400. Well, the houses that we're turning out on average are $300K and below. So I'm $100,000 below the median average. So I'm competing with, and most of us on this call are either multifamily investors or we want to be. I'm competing with those people. So me and Jade are going to people and saying, hey, man, your kids deserve a backyard and you deserve a garage to park your car in. So come literally pay us $75 more than what you're paying Jonathan and Sergio down the street, and we'll give you a set of keys. And not only that, we're going to show you through education how it's the genesis of you beginning to create financial wealth for you and your family. So that's why our model works. We're not in Highland Park. We're not in Frisco. We're not in Plano. We're in not rural, but we're in the parts of Grand Prairie, Arlington, Oak Cliff, Dallas, where I can walk into a McDonald's and the manager's making $65,000 a year and look at her and him and say, you deserve a house, man. You working 18 hours a day. I just bought a house right around the corner. Come see me in 6 weeks. I can do that. That's what we do. The level of housing that we provide is a necessity, not a want. That's why it works.
Because what's the thing, Tommy? At the end of the day, you're paying somebody's mortgage. Sometimes
That's
it's
right.
yours, right?
That's
if
right.
you're living in an apartment, no shade, but you are literally paying that property owner's
Correct.
bill. So
Correct.
you can get into a home. We can offer you a home that is yours. And I repeat, that is yours, that you can pass to your children's children. And who's not going to choose that? I mean, and think about how expensive rent is now, right? It's like you're already paying a mortgage. So you might as well have your own backyard and your own restroom and not have to worry about somebody walking on the level on top of you you have ownership. So
Correct. And to piggyback on that, guys, let me say this part. And I was on a call today with an investor, and I said, we get to have a conversation with our clients, and we allow them to control the largest expense that they have out of their monthly budget, which is housing. So if you live in one of me and Jonathan or Shirley's or Jade's apartments, every 12 months, every 18 months, because of what the market is doing, we are going to increase it. We are going to increase your payment. And guess what? 100% of the largest expense that you have, you get no tax deduction or you get no forced savings for. We allow you to change that model when you purchase a home.
good.
Changing lives. I love it. I love it. And just speaking about changing lives and helping people, get affordable housing, because that's what we're doing, right? Essentially. You're also changing a lot of other people's lives by teaching them on how to do these flips and how is it that we're doing this. And Jade and Tommy, and even, we're a part of the community. You guys, we have over 100 students in the community who are extremely successful. Lady Jade being one of them, one of the partners and mentees. But let's talk a little bit about how is it that we're able to do that, guys? How is it that we're changing these lives of those that are wanting to get into real estate, and how we're telling them, yes, this is possible. You can do it too.
Well, the way we're doing it, man, is I'm just laying out the blueprint, right? I give you the steak and not the sizzle. I show you the good, the bad, the ugly. And one thing Jade and my other students will say is you got to have the stomach for this stuff, right? We've dumped out of an asset. We closed 3 weeks ago and I'm still making repairs. I got a call today that the roof is leaking. It's just part of it. It's part of it, right? It's just how it works. That's just how this stuff works. But if you can stay the course, if you got somebody that can help navigate you through the blind spots and stuff, you're going to win. It works, right? We have too much proof of concept. I have too many Jade success stories. I have too many other students' success stories that if you do the work, if you work it, it will work. And so that's what we do. One of my coaches told me the other day, he says, Tommy, you need to quit calling yourself a coach because you're a mentor. And she goes, do you know the difference? And I said, I'm sure you're going to tell me. She says that a coach is someone, Jonathan, that holds you accountable for the goals that you set. But a mentor, Sergio, takes you by the hand and they help you get very, very granular and get in the minutia, and they show you how to ensure that goals come true. So from a mentorship standpoint, it's my job to answer every question that Jade answers. And if I don't have the answer, I'll say, ooh, that's a great question, sis. Let me go to my coaches or let me go to my resources and get the answers and drag that answer back to our tribe and learn together.
Which is a great point. Another thing about mentorship, and Tommy pretty much said it. If your mentor doesn't have a mentor, that shouldn't be your mentor.
Yeah.
And like Sergio and Jonathan said, Tommy is a mentor to them also, right? And we ask all of these questions because at the end of the day, I'm not on a level where I can be a mentor yet, but I ask all of these questions because my hope and dream is to take the information that Tommy has taught me. And when Tommy finally gets a chance to go on a vacation or be away, I have enough information and I have a level of expertise where I can fill in the gaps and teach. I have godsons, I have nieces and nephews. I want to be able to teach them that there's just not, I was taught the American dream. You graduate from high school, you go to college, that means you're going to make a whole lot of money. And no, that's not it. You get what I'm saying? So I want to truly know the information so that I can share with other people. And hopefully you guys will gain the information because you have people in your family that you want to put on too and say, look, if we all do this together, you know, we could truly make a lot of money. And to Jonathan's point, y'all, real talk, if I can do this, I feel like anybody can do this. A lot of people say, yeah, it's because you have influence. Let me tell you, I don't get investment properties and I don't make money because of my influence, right? If I use my influence to get an investment property and I try to do it on my own and jump in there, I promise you that I would be so in debt right now because I would not know what the heck I'm doing. Like I said, I struggle with the imposter syndrome of being the student. And there are pockets where you feel, I don't know a politically correct way to say this, like you're frustrated because you feel dumb. I'm like, dang, I just don't know this. I don't get this. But that's why you have people around you. I had zero. I've never flipped a property. Actually, let me not say that. About 10, Tommy, I don't even know if I told you this. About 15 years ago, I think I have. Me, my mom, my brother's mother-in-law at the time, my mom's best friend, and my stepmom. We decided to form a company because we were going to flip properties. Did I ever tell you this? I can't believe it was called Log Investments, Ladies of God, okay? We bought a property and we were like, the 5 of us are going to do this. Like we almost, like the family ship and friendships almost ended over this. We did not make $1. We ended up losing money because we tried to figure it out on our own. None of us had any type of investment background at all. So, dang, I can't believe I never told you that. So I told myself I would never do this again. I mean, I can't believe it's just coming to my memory. So now, fast forward, if I can literally sit and be patient enough and be a student and figure this out, anybody can, because this is not what I do naturally. I don't do in real estate naturally, but it is a skill set that can be taught. It can be learned.
That's right.
If you could just swallow your pride and just ask the questions and not try to venture off on your own because you're kind of getting it. I mean, how many properties have I done? And I still call Tommy every single time. I'm like, all right, walk me through this. And when I say walk me through this, he's saying, okay, so you tell me. And now I'm walking him through it. And he's like, you got it. You got it. And then when I get to the next step of the process, I'm like, so this is what I was thinking. And sometimes he comes back and says, no, this is what you missed. You didn't look at this. You didn't look at pointing out the little innuendos that I may have overlooked. So anybody can truly be successful in this game. If I can, anybody can.
That's amazing. That's amazing, guys. If y'all had a lot of fun tonight, put some fire in the chat. Y'all show some love to Lady Jade, Tommy Jones, because it is tough to get her out here. I know Jade's extremely busy. Tommy's extremely busy. He's always on the phone. Every other 2-3 minutes, he's on the phone call. So put some fire in the chat. Let's show him some love. And thank y'all for turning on the camera. But don't leave yet, because I have a very last question. One more question, and this is really going to set the tone.
But before you do that, and I want to be sensitive to the time, but there's power in participation. So I would like, and I'm not trying to hijack the show, I would like at least 2 to 3 of the participants to come on and ask a question, not in the chat, but come on and ask a question and let either Jade or myself or both of us answer it. Because I promise you, everybody on this call is thinking either that question or a hybrid of that question.
I did not think you were going to ask that. I was like, I'm going to respect their time. We got all night, by the way. But now let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Who has a question? Step up.
I got it. I'm gonna go. I'm not hesitant. I'm shooting it. All right, guys. Tommy and is it Lady Jade? Okay. By the way, just a little backstory. Sergio and I met about a year ago at Tyler Devereaux's multifamily conference, and we've been going to multiple events. He's a great friend, and Johnny and them are freaking killing it. Each time I'm in a room with them, I'm like, damn, I'm feeling lazy again. I gotta hold myself accountable, right? So it's an accountability group. So I know in real estate, y'all deal with some adversity and setbacks, and you know, relationships are a big thing. talk to me about a time where you guys had to deal with a lot of adversity when it came to real estate, and then whether you had to burn a bridge or how you had to pivot forward from it. You know, just a time in real estate when it came to closing a deal, flipping a property, multifamily, anything in general.
Well, Jade, you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Hell, our very first deal. I mean, I think you heard me say I knew the trepidation that she was under. And so I, you know, my guys are working, and they call me one day and they say, boss, the lady said we have to stop working. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they said, the lady right here. So I said, well, give her the phone, give her the phone. So she's like, this is code enforcement. And I'm like, hey, how are you? We've pulled all of our permits. They're affixed in the window. I can give you my permit number. She goes, my master permit. She goes, no. This is a historical district. And these windows, this siding, all of this stuff that you're putting up has not been approved by the committee. And I was like, what committee are you talking about? I said, typically, because when we go into a historical district, there's language in the title work, right? That tells you that. And so I said, I didn't see that. And there's usually a different type of marquee on the street signs. I said, I didn't see that either. She goes, yeah, well, this neighborhood was grandfathered in. And so what you're doing, you can't do. So a house that was 750 square feet that should have taken 6 weeks to flip took 12 months. So I have a partner who just wrote a $45,000 check, and I had laid out what her ROI would be. I had laid out how the turn time, and we're still building a relationship. Now, if that happened now, she'd be like, oh, damn, okay, we'll get through it. What do you need some help? But then, so there's anxiety because at this point, my reputation is at stake. Because everything that she thought it could be, it appears to be. So it appears to be a scam. It appears to be, if you're this real estate guru, why didn't you know this? This is my first time ever doing it, so I'm not supposed to know it, but you're supposed to know it. She never said any of that. She just said, she may have thought it, but she never said it. She was like, hey, what do I need to do? I get off the radio station by 10 every day. Do I need to go down to the city? What do I, now you got to keep in mind, Jade has to get up like at 2 o'clock in the morning because she did drive time radio, right? So she'd have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So hell, most times after 7:30, 8 o'clock, she done shut it down. Her phone's on do not disturb. So my average day ends about 9:30 or 10 when I get back to the home office. So I'm just now calling my investors and giving them updates. Well, I can't call Jade. So I have to communicate either via text or email. So how many people know that stuff can get lost in translation in text and email? And so, but she never blinked. She never blinked. I kept her informed, and we navigated through that. So a project that was supposed to take 6 weeks took 1 year, and she still made over 80 grand on the deal in the end. But it could have got really, really bad. It could have got really, really bad, but it never did.
I'll tell you why I didn't blink though. The reason why I didn't blink is because when there were things like, I guess you had to go into the city to get certain
permits
and stuff like that like we weren't aware of. One of the things that made me feel better through the anxiety is because Tommy didn't just like point and say, go do this. Like he was like, all right, I'm going to go down to the city. I'm going to make sure. He was very much hands-on and never took his hands off of it. So it made me feel assured, like, okay, he's not just throwing me to the wolves. And I want to also everybody to keep in mind, we're talking about a year long that my savings is locked up.
Correct.
Total check. That money is gone. So there was definitely a lot of anxiety involved in it, but it's almost like being in a relationship. Think about it. You can get into an argument with your significant other. According to the way they respond to the adversity is what brings you comfort, right? And he responded Because now we are in a business ship. Business ships are relationships. He is responding to the adversity by being very much hands-on and not pushing it off on me. So that is what gave me the level of comfort. It was not easy because, again, like you said, it's supposed to take 6 weeks. I was expecting to have a return. I was going to say worst case, it may take 2 or 3 months, but I'll get a check. And to have all my money locked up like that, but everything happens for a reason, because on the flip side, it helped me to now be more responsible with the money that I did have coming in, since I didn't have this cushion, right? So it was a lesson. It's never a loss. It's always a lesson, for sure.
That's good. Great question, man. Great question.
That was a good one. That was a good one. So we have also Anya. Hi, Anya. Welcome to the call. So do you have any questions for Lady Jade and Tommy?
Hey, aloha, Lady Jane and Tommy. So nice to get so much info from you. Thank you. Appreciate that. This is very, I love the discussion. I love the interaction between you guys. And yeah, Sergio and Jonathan you guys are awesome, holding such awesome Zooms. I love it. I'm like, I don't want to miss it almost every Tuesday. So that's good. It's like a good show. So I guess my question is to Tommy, and maybe Lady Jane, you can chime in. So I'm a realtor on Kauai, and just dipping my feet into the multifamily. I also have a yoga company. So what would I drive around, I look for, places that are kind of, ugly looking and stuff like that, but nothing that I found yet, nothing that make any sense. Is there any advice or anything that like sparks your mind, what I should be looking at, what I should be, focusing on?
Sure. Yeah. So what I would say to you, coaching you, is first of all, you're in beautiful Hawaii. So it's going to be really, really hard to find some rundown properties in Hawaii. So what I would say is I would form relationships with divorce attorneys, funeral homes, CPAs, people that are going, divorce attorneys, and I would become the solution person when we call it the 3 Ds: death, divorce, or disease shows up in somebody's life. When something bad happens to good people, then I would like for you to give me a call, because I can help. I provide real estate solutions. I manage emotions, right? That's what I do better than anybody that I know. That's what you could say. My superpower is I manage what nobody can see, but everybody feels, which is the emotional aspect of the acquisition or the dissolution of real estate properties when one of the 3 Ds has happened. That's what I would do if I were you.
Tom, that's gold. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome.
That was a great question.
We want to come visit. We're jealous. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. We want to listen. This is what you need to do. You got to fly me and Jade, because we want to come walk some assets over there.
It's a tax write-off because it's a business trip.
That's right.
That's true. You guys come over, I host you and drive you around.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the deal.
Jonathan and Sergio have my info. We've been connecting
great.
for a while. Thank you guys. Thank you.
We'll do
Appreciate
yoga
that.
on the beach. We'll go do yoga on
Yeah,
the beach.
do yoga.
Yeah. Yoga. I got some
Awesome.
Lululemon pants.
The next question, great question, Anya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Justin Reedy, brother, what's up, man? I'm glad you were able to make it out. Austin and Ryan used to be the youngest guys in real estate in the room, but now we got Justin Reedy, who's 15 years old, and he's already surrounding himself and putting himself in these rooms. So y'all give him a hand really quick, by the way. Let's put some claps in the chat for him and show him some love. But brother, welcome, and then go ahead and ask your question.
Sir, thank you so much for inviting me. So since I am a beginner, what
Whoa,
was
whoa, 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 whoa. When did your voice get so deep, dude?
Is your mom?
No, yes, Jade, that's Jessica's son.
Shut up. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice
Go
to
ahead,
meet-
man.
Yes, sir. So what's some of the books or papers that you read that really helped open your mind to real estate? Because I'm new to all the language and the terminology. So what's some of the things that helped you really get a grasp on everything that was going on?
Man, that's a great thing.
Gotcha.
I would
Tommy,
go ahead, Jay.
I'm gonna jump
You
in.
first, Jay.
The reason why I say that, Tommy, what was my big thing when I jumped in? I said, this feels like a foreign language. Like, it's like everybody speaking,
Yes.
and I do not get it. Okay. So, Justin, this is not going to be the answer that you were expecting, but this is real. It wasn't a book, because I even went and got my real estate license thinking that it was going to help me with the language. I spent the money. I told Tommy, I'm going to go get my license because that way I can be a little bit more familiar, right?
And what I say? What did I say?
You ain't got to be right all the time. But anyways, here's the thing. It did not help me with the language, even getting my real estate license. It really didn't. What you're going to have to do, Justin, is you have to, it's like on the job training. You have to just pull up. You're not going to be able to, I'm not saying you can't read books because you're young and you have a young mind and you probably have really great memory, but you're going to be memorizing a bunch of definitions. You're going to have to see it firsthand.
Yes.
Pull up, around, sit in meetings that you have no idea what they're talking about, and then ask questions afterwards.
That's right.
Even being around Tommy, he's like, when you acquire the acquisition. Like, I used to be like, when we go buy properties. So my languages and the way that I articulate things is changing because I hear it all the time. It's almost like, think about it. When you're trying not to cuss, but all your friends cuss, that's because that's what you're around all the time. So if you're around real estate investment language all the time, you're going to start speaking like that. It is who you're immersing yourself around. So I would also start listening to like different real estate podcasts, right? Because taking the information in, I don't know if it's necessary. I don't have books. Tommy may have books because, you know, he's been in this longer, but that was what helped me. And so now when I'm pulling up to these assets, see what I'm saying? I am now when the guys are talking around me, it's like, I get it. I don't feel like a fish out of water, but I was the exact same way as you, Justin. So don't feel like maybe this is God's way of telling me this is not for me. No, like just push through that. And again, you have access. Like you have access to the Sergios. You have access to the Jonathans. You have access to the Tommies. And now because you have access to me. So there should be no reason that when you're not doing schoolwork, that you aren't riding in a car with one of these guys.
That's right.
Every single weekend. Like by the time you're 16, 17, you will own properties and be building an empire. And
Love it.
if you don't, that's on you.
Thank you so much.
That was good. That was good. We actually got some property tours scheduled for Mr. Justin on the weekend. So we're gonna try to hook him up and get him plugged in. So yeah, really excited for him, and I'm glad I'm able to help him out in any way possible, way, shape, or form. But he's in good hands, Tommy, Jade.
Yes, he is.
We got him. But Justin, good question, man. And once again, super proud of you, and I'm glad you're here to just keep being in these rooms. So we got two more questions. Krista, what's up, girl?
Hey, what's up? How are y'all?
Hey.
Great.
So I just want to say I appreciate y'all taking the time to come and teach us because I know that y'all are super busy. So just really appreciate that. Super grateful. I have two questions. Actually, I want to go back to Lady Jade. You mentioned that you have a nonprofit. So I do want you to bring that up. I'm super into, giving back. I created a scholarship for students. I haven't created the nonprofit yet, so I just want to see if there's a way that we could collab with that. But my first question is, I know you said to be in the rooms, to meet people, to have a mentorship. And this is also for Johnny and Sergio. What event or like what room did you get into that really catapulted you into the next event? I know I already have my tickets for ConnectCon, so I'll be there. But just you personally, like, was it Grant Cardone or what